Alright, hello everyone. Today we are going to be drawing our angle bracket in orthographic views, so front, right side, and top view. We're going to also utilize the reflection technique, which I've covered in class, but I will quickly review today. So let's just look at some of our basic dimensions. So we have a piece that is L-shaped. The outside dimensions of the L are 2 inches by 2 inches. We can look here. The width of the L is 1.5 inches. We have 4 holes here. So if we zoom in on our 4 holes, it says there are 4 times 0.25 diameter holes, 0.75 inch square grid. So what that means is that we have 4 holes that are 1/4 of an inch in diameter. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if we were to plot them on a grid, the center points of each of the holes would be 3/4 of an inch apart. So we'd be able to draw a line or a square that's 3/4 of an inch on all sides, and that would connect the center points of each of these holes. The other thing of note is our note here, which says, note, all fillets and rounds 1/4 of an inch in radius. What that means is that any radiused corner, anything that has this gentle curve to it, is going to be 1/4 of an inch in radius, which gives the the gentle sloping curve and then a reinforcing fillet here to the part. And so we can kind of recognize that from this L-shaped profile that we have here. Additionally, our material thickness is 3/8 of an inch. So that applies not only to the bottom here, but also to the back portion. And then in terms of the location of our hole grid, we can look at what dimensions are touching the holes. One is this right here, so our 7/8 dimension. That is from the very bottom of the material to the center point of our bottom left hole here. And then if we look at this 3/8 dimension here as well, this goes from the left edge to the center point of the top left hole. So we could actually use the bottom left hole as kind of our anchor or our reference for our hole grid. So this is the first one we're going to draw, or the first position we'll locate, and then we would sort of work our way around to the other 3. So what does this look like in 3D? Because right now we're looking at an isometric view. So we look at this in 3D, it essentially looks the same. We can kind of see what our front view is going to look like for our orthographic projection. And then our side view, it's actually going to be a backward shaped L based on the orientation of the part. And then we'll just rotate it back here. And our top view, let's rotate it around that way. Top view is going to look like this, and again we'll have hidden lines for all of our holes and center lines for all of our holes. Well, let's get back into AutoCAD. So in order to start drawing this, we're going to draw the front view, which will have basically a rectangle shape, a line to represent this material coming straight out at us. Basically the flat surface here is represented with a line across the bottom, and then the 4 holes in their pattern. So we're going to go to layers, make sure we have object selected. We'll start drawing our rectangle. It's going to be 2 inches by 1.5 inches. Type L, 2 inches, 1.5 inches, and we'll just go up and complete our rectangle here. And I did say our material thickness was 3/8 of an inch, and we do need to represent this flat surface here. So we're just going to offset this line up 3/8 of an inch. Offset 0.375, or you could type in the fraction. Okay. And now we just need to locate our hole. And I like to use something like the 0 layer on a different color for that, because then I can remove the layout lines if necessary. So we're going to come in 3/8 of an inch. We're going to come up 7/8 of an inch, just like we discussed. We're trying to locate that lower left hole there. That. So this is the center point of our lower left hole. We said the hole diameters are 1/4 of an inch. We'll draw that first one. Diameter 0.25. And now what we can do is go back to our zero layer, and we'll use that 0.75 inch square grid. We'll just start drawing 0.75, 0.75, and last but not least 0.75. And I can actually delete 2 of those lines because we have 1, 2, and 3 points located now. So we're going to finish up the center lines on this circle, and then we'll just use these points as copy points. So first thing I want to do is offset this circle just a little bit, a few thousandths of an inch, doesn't need to be huge. We're going to select our center line type, draw a line, go completely across. Some people tend to, what they'll do is they'll go from the center out and then repeat that process. And what you wind up with... Sorry for the interruption. What you wind up with is 2 separate line segments. So we actually don't want that. We want one line segment continuously across. We're just going to stretch that out. What I'll do is I'll remove the outside guide circle, and we'll notice our center lines don't have the dash that they need in the middle. So we're going to go here to Properties, and we're going to change the line type scale. We're going to lower that number below 1. Try 0.5. That does not work. We'll try 0.2. 0.2 gives us a nice little plus in the middle there. That looks good to me. So now we can just take this whole assembly here, these 3 objects, our 2 center lines and then our circle, and we will just click copy. We're just going to grab it by the center and position it at each of the endpoints of these lines. And I'm just going to delete my layout lines. Our front view is done. So let's do our side view. Like I said, our side view is going to be like kind of a backwards L. So as I like to start usually, we're going to start by just projecting our top and bottom to the right. So just from the bottom, we'll go straight over. And from the top, we're going to do the same thing. And again, none of this needs to be precise other than the angle going straight across. Then we're just going to draw a vertical line straight down. Okay. And now we've got to start setting some dimensions. So what is our total depth? So we're looking at depth here. Our depth is 2 inches. We can select offset. I'm going to bring this in 2 inches. Okay. And like I said, our material thickness all the way around is 3/8 of an inch. This dimension right here. So what we can do is we will click offset. We'll offset this line 3/8. Do the same thing up from the bottom. 3/8. Now what we can do is come in with our trim tool. We'll just kind of come around it and lop off all the extra. So that we have just kind of a backwards L shape. Now we want to put in our fillets and rounds. So again, they're a 1/4 inch radius. So we're going to set up our fillet tool here. Make sure the radius, so we'll type in R for radius. We'll type 0.25 and hit enter. So we have to make sure our radius is set. And it'll say it right down here in the text box. And we'll just start clicking our lines, and it will automatically start filleting our corners. Okay. So I'm actually going to slide this a little bit closer. Okay. Now what we want to do is represent these holes with hidden lines, just like we've learned in the past. And I'm just going to select our hidden line type in a line, and we're going to go from the very bottom of one of our holes and just go straight across. Do the same thing. Okay, and we'll select our center line type. Again, sort of repeating that process there. We can come in with our trim tool. First thing we want to do is kind of delete what's in our drawing here. We'll remove this, and we'll remove that. Then we want to make sure our center line is extending out a little bit, so we're going to hit offset. We're just going to move this out. Let's go 0.1. I think will be good for this. Again, this is kind of an aesthetic, functional aesthetic, but still an aesthetic choice. It's got to look right. So we're going to extend our line. We'll delete our exterior line, and again, we want to change our line type scale here. Okay, so we're going to adjust the line type scale of this line. We're going to select our center line and then just lower that number. We'll try 0.2. 0.2 looks good. Now, I've only drawn one, however, I've made sure it's complete. Now what I can do is just use something like my zero layer. We'll draw a line from one hole straight across, and we'll just copy all three of our hole lines here. And where we select to copy from, we don't want to do it from the end of the center line. We want to come in to right where the center line meets the face of the part, and that's going to be our copy point. So this view is now complete. So now we can work on the top view. When I'm laying out the top view, what I like to do is we'll project our left and right side up. And what we'll do is we'll draw a horizontal line across here. This is going to be the bottom of our top view. This will be the right side and the left side. And then we will bring the left side of our right side view, I know it's a little confusing, up. And wherever that intersects this line, so this intersection right here is critical, because that's where we're going to draw our reflection line, which is our line at 45 degrees. So I want to make sure it snaps so you can see the polar reading, and we will just click. So now what I can do is I can actually use that line to project our depth. We can go up here and then across, making sure everything's at 90 degrees. And right here is going to be our top view. So we can just start filling that in. Okay. And what we'll do, we'll just remove any lines that we don't need at this point. We're going to leave our reflection line though. And then we can use our zero layer to continue projecting things over. So we'll bring our back line up and over. Again, this is a relatively simple view here. Select object and we'll just fill that in. And then I like to just delete my lines as I go and kind of keep a tidy workplace. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to add our holes. So we're going to use our zero layer. We're going to project our center lines for our holes up. That's really all we need to project up for this, because we're going to do a little trick to save us some time. And that trick is copying these holes from here, because they're on a spaced grid. Copy out. We're going to take them and we're going to rotate them. Just kind of click here and we're going to go straight down so that we've rotated them 90 degrees. Now we're going to move them. So we're going to highlight all the lines and select move. We'll hover over the end of our hidden line here just for a second. We're going to bring that in until we touch our center line. Then we can use that to place our holes. Just like that, our angle bracket is done.